Well, listeners and viewers of Voice of Indonesia, we know that green technology, green buildings, green broadcasting, talking about green is always really important. And today here in our studio, we have Ian Chu, the founder of Greenie Web from Web Singapore. And we will discuss about how to stop carbon footprint of technology. How are you, Ian?
Very good. Thank you for having me here. An absolute delight to be in the Jakarta headquarters today. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. And as we know that green is always in the campaign in any sector, any part of life, buildings, broadcasts, anything. So now we would like to discuss about this, and of course it's related to your job, your profession. Ian, could you elaborate on the current impact of the technological advancement on the carbon footprint and why this issue is gaining increased attention for today?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. It's a wonderful way to begin. And the answer really is threefold. So we've got massive digital transformation in all countries, whether it is a more economically developed country, whereby certain industries which are traditionally non-digital, like agriculture, chemicals, coming onto the digital bandwagon for the first time. We've got countries in the emerging market sphere, which are digitally transforming as a nation for the first time. And we've got this very important thing called generative AI, artificial intelligence, the blockchain, whereby the increase in adoption of the blockchain of AI has meant that so much more energy has to be diverted into the digital world. So from a carbon perspective, a lot of the energy that is being used comes from non-renewable sources of power, like the burning of oil and gas. And that means that there is a carbon footprint to TikTok videos, to sending emails, to sending a picture on Instagram. And that really is the focus of what we do at Greenie Web.
Okay, maybe for some people it is still a question, a big question in their mind. The relationship between technology here and green that we are talking today.
Yes, so essentially, in the past 20 years, what most people have thought of, or what most people were told, is that when you go digital, you go green. They say you don't send mail, you send an email. You don't send a piece of paper to promote your store. You do digital marketing. But what they don't realize is that all of this has a carbon footprint, because the data that comes from your handphone, from your laptop, when it is sent to a data center, the servers there consume so much energy that in Singapore's case, 7% of the whole country's energy is used by data centers. And that is why that in Singapore, we have only actually banned two things. We have banned chewing gum, and a few years ago, we banned the building of new data centers. So even if you wanted to put $1 billion in Singapore to build a data center, you could not, because it was taking too much energy, and that will destabilize the energy grid.
It is quite hard for me, as a common person, to calculate this. Okay, just say for one data center, how much carbon footprint or carbon it is released?
Okay, let me give you something easier to count. One email.
One email sent.
If one email, just words only, 5 grams of CO2, 5 grams of car, 5 grams. If your email has one picture, it becomes 50 grams times 10. And nowadays, we have emails with many pictures. And if you look at your handphone, you look at your laptop right now, so many emails not opened. So that is one of the biggest problems right now, is that in the world, we have a lot of people subscribing to many companies, different products, right? And we actually don't want the email. We may have signed up because we want the discount, or we want the membership.
That's right.
And then they send us all of these emails that we don't open and we just put in junk. But each time the email is sent to us, whether we open or not, there is carbon already.
My God.
Yes.
Very dangerous.
Very. And that is just emails.
Yeah.
We have to talk about things like YouTube, video, right? at the 5 billion view. So 5 billion view for YouTube, that is enough energy to power 40,000 homes in the US for 365 days. And if you look at YouTube videos now, 100 million views here, 10 million views that added all together can power a single country.
Oh, wow. This is really, really expressive. Yes. So, in your opinions, what are the most significant sources of carbon emission within the tech industry, and how can they be effectively mitigated?
Okay, that's an amazing question. For us, we think that the tech industry can be broken down into three big parts. The first part really is pictures. So representative Instagram, right? And the like, or Facebook pictures, things like that. So that's one. The second area is video. Video, you think of short form video like TikTok,
Yes.
and long form video like YouTube. So long videos, short videos, right? And the last one really is just information. So when you think of like a website, regular website, just with words, or the old website, right?
Okay.
Where there is just information. So three big things. But we think that what is most concerning is nowadays the youth, the young generation, they have moved away from websites. They have even moved away from pictures only. They are now into the TikTok generation.
Yes, right.
All the videos, everything, which is very good if you are a company looking to market your things, because it's very engaging.
Yes.
But the carbon footprint is much higher compared to just words and to pictures, because video requires so much more data. So when you need more data, it means that you need more processing power,
Yes.
more compute power. And when you need more compute power, that means you need more energy.
That's right.
And if you need more energy, it means there's more carbon.
Oh my gosh. So I think it is very important to let the people outside there, Ian, to know how much carbon, how much energy they have spent while they produce, just say, 30 seconds TikTok.
Oh, wow. That's a great question. You know why? Because nowadays, when you create TikTok videos, there is the music, there is the beauty filter,
Yes.
and there is also sometimes the special effect. So it is very hard to calculate, and that is why at Greenie Web, that's why we specialize in this. We specialize in three things. We identify each line of computer code, how much CO2 it is. So we calculate that. And number two, what we do is we change the computer code from regular computer code to low carbon computer code.
Okay.
What does that mean? We change it from C++, Python, JavaScript to green C++, green Python, green JavaScript.
Okay.
And what that means is that when that same line of code is used, less energy is used and less carbon is produced.
All the things you say, that green code.
Yes, green code.
Yes. How the people can get this?
So that's a good question. So one way, of course, is Greenie Web. That's where I'm from. But I think like on their own, right?
Yes.
One of the things that people can be very mindful of.
Yeah.
Say I am a coder in Jakarta right now, or I'm a coder working from a nice view in my home in Bali, right? What can I do? The answer really is number one, always look at your code and see if there's anything redundant. Because the number one problem in today's society is that a lot of times when I am building a product or a program, I refer to something that has been built before.
Yes.
And what a lot of coders do is they may go into online forums like Stack Overflow,
Yes.
and they have template computer code. So template, so they can just take and they use. But the problem with that is because these templates are sometimes a bit older,
Yes.
they don't use the latest technology, the latest architecture, the latest logic. And so there is a lot of redundancy.
Yeah.
And so when you use like that, the redundant code will consume energy, but not do very much. And so as a coder, the first thing is I will look at my code and I'm thinking, how can I make this more clean? How can I make this leaner? How can I reduce the redundancy, the bloatedness of the code?
Okay. Wow. Yes. So now, how Ian, do you assess the role of the emerging technologies that we have? You can see here in our studio, and such artificial intelligence there, okay, and then also blockchain and etc. in either exacerbating or elevating the carbon footprint of the tech sector.
Okay, I think that's a wonderful question. Thank you for asking that. And I think it's a double-edged sword. So there is good, but there is bad. And the good, for example, like blockchain, right? Blockchain is good because it allows you to put something on the chain
Yes.
that is transparent, everyone can see, and it cannot be changed. Or else it's not blockchain anymore. So one of the thing is that when we use blockchain, we can use that to verify, not say verify, but we can use that to keep records of carbon footprint that is transparent to everyone, that cannot be changed. So that's the good. But the problem with blockchain is that it consumes a lot of energy as well. And one of the things that is related to blockchain, not exactly, it shouldn't represent blockchain, but it is, I would say, the poster child of what people think of blockchain when they hear of it. Bitcoin, right?
Bitcoin, yes.
Bitcoin mining, extremely energy intensive, right? There was once a study back in, if I'm not wrong, 2019, that showed the amount of carbon dioxide produced by Bitcoin
Yes.
is the equivalent of 2.2 billion trees. So you need to plant 2.2 billion trees to
produce-
offset the CO2 produced by Bitcoin mining.
Oh my gosh.
2.2 billion trees.
Trees, yes.
That is in 2019. Imagine if that number remained the same. By now, that would be 11 billion trees, which is more than every single human being on this world.
Oh, that's 2.2 billion trees.
Yes.
Yes. Again, we, Voice of Indonesia, have we call a Foi Green
Yes.
program. And since listening to what you said in this conversation, in this interview, I think it is a suggestion for us to make this office green anymore. So, what's the challenges do companies face when attempting to reduce their carbon footprint, and how can they overcome these obstacles? There should be, while we are trying to reduce this, there must be, and on the other side, there must be,
Yes.
effect for that, right?
Yes. I think three things. Number one, I think awareness, especially when we talk about low carbon computer code. Not that many people know about this, and that's a problem because most people still think that when you go digital, you go green.
Yes.
That is not always the case. Sometimes it could be, but it is not always the case. And that is something that we need to have that mindset change, the change in narrative. So that's one. Number two is a lack of support by the company itself. So some companies find that ESG is a cost center. They spend money and they don't get anything back, right? They plant the tree and they don't get anything money back. So they need to understand that sustainability affects all of us. And one of the great things about digital sustainability is when you change your computer code from normal to low carbon, what happens is that the computer code is executed faster. So a low carbon website is faster than a regular website.
Oh.
A low carbon mobile application, open, close, loading, much faster than a regular mobile application. So when you think of digital sustainability, it is not just a cost center, it is something with an ROI,
Yes.
return of investment. So that's number two. The last thing really I'd say is government support. I think governments have done a great job around the world to talk about sustainability for the physical world. Have sustainability targets for example, recycling, for example, emissions from power plants. But I think governments can start shifting to look at the digital world. And I see that governments around the world that we are talking to are receptive and are moving in that direction. So I'm so heartened that around the world, even in Southeast Asia, we've got many governments who understand the problem and are thinking, how can we shift the narrative? How can we encourage companies and incentivize them to do that?
Okay. So this is, I think, very important that the people, especially who are working with their computer, to know that low carbon make it faster, as you mentioned. right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I do not. Okay, Ian, can you share us any successful case studies, maybe already done by the founder Greenie Web Singapore? So, successful case studies or example where the technology companies have significantly reduced their carbon emission, and also what lessons can be learned, yeah, for us, for example, from this successful.
I think one of our biggest joys was that our first customer was actually from the maritime industry,
Maritime.
shipping,
Oh.
and was in the maritime and engineering space. Because it's very surprising. You would think our first customer would have been a tech company.
Yes.
But our first customer was in maritime because what we do can be applied across all industries. As long as your company has a website or a mobile application, then you can digitally decarbonize. So that means that this is so powerful because whether you're in agriculture, aviation, finance, tech, as long as you have a bit of computer code, you can do something for the world. And that's really why we are so passionate about what we do, because we can see the impact spreading beyond. This is not just something for tech people. No, as long as your company has anything to do with tech, you can go digitally green.
Oh, yes. Like we are here in most of Indonesia. Yes. So, how important is these technology companies engage in transparency, as you mentioned, from the maritime industry about their carbon footprints, and what role do you believe the consumer demand plays in driving these changes?
That's a wonderful question. I think consumers play the largest possible role, because when consumers start telling companies that they will be their client if they go green, the company will go green. If the consumer does not vote with their money, does not vote with their feet, then the companies may not be as enthusiastic in undergoing green digital transformation. For example, if consumers all demand their email providers to be green email providers, then every email provider will be a green one. But if consumers do not do anything, then companies may be slower to act.
Okay. The campaign for this can be started from the consumers. Right?
Yes.
Okay. As I told you before, we are coming to this studio that we have 9 languages, and our listeners, our viewers is everywhere in the world, including in the Central Asia, in Europe, and also in America. There are still many things that we discuss, but my producer already give me sick. One focus. Okay, just like a powerful closing statement for the campaign for this, digital green.
Yeah, I think as a closing statement, I believe that just like how the Voice of Indonesia, how RRI is present in so many countries, Greenie Web thankfully is also present through our 29 by 29 program, whereby we bring pro bono digital sustainability masterclasses to anyone, whether you are a non-profit, an educational institution, a government, a corporate. And we would like to take this opportunity to invite listeners of today's broadcast to partner us on this journey. We are doing this free of charge because we want to give back to society. We want more people to know about this so that the consumers can then relay that message to the corporates, and we can have actual powerful change.
Thank you very much. Powerful change. Yes, this is very important. Ian Cho is here, the founder of Greenie Web Singapore. What we are talking, this is all about for the goodness of our planet, the goodness of the good of our life. And I hope listeners, after listening to this program, you turn to be a digitalized green person, or use of digital Greenie, technology. That's the end of our conversation with Ivan Chu, the founder of Greenie Web Singapore. And I'm Daulat Pane. See you next time.